All right, magical friends, we're going to talk empath. If you're looking at this, you may be wondering if you're an empath. If you're asking yourself that question, I went through the same thing, and I am a talented empath. But I didn't know that. I didn't always know that. I actually, in the beginning, thought I was broken. Someone brought the idea to my head one day at work, said, "You're an empath. I think you're carrying too much." And I felt that was code for I'm too fucking sensitive. So I kind of put it in my back pocket and tried to squash some of my sensitivity. Well, it came up again, and so finally I went and researched what the word meant. When I did, it opened up a whole new world to me. I totally resonated. For me, I needed proof, so I took 100 online quizzes, and that didn't satisfy me. So I even took it a step further and decided I needed someone to logically, scientifically tell me I'm an empath. It didn't make no sense. I came across a very gifted psychic. I could tell that he was genuine, real, and had insight. And I got into my head that I was going to use them to validate me scientifically. So if you take a look at that, I was using my empath skills to find me a psychic who could tell me that I was an empath. I just couldn't see the forest through the trees. And you may be doing the same thing. Online, there's so much information out there, so many questionnaires that will tell you whether or not you're an empath. But the fact that you're seeking, the fact that you resonate, is a pretty strong indication that you're an empath. However, if you do need that validation, let me tell you about my experience. The person I selected was Kimo Capano. He also goes by the handle of the Light Seer or Aloha Light Seer. He is very talented. He can visually see energy and he can visually measure your level of empath. And when I had my appointment with him, I didn't tell him what I was after. You know, he's a psychic, he should know. As the appointment went on, he kind of stopped midway and said, "You know what? I think we need to hopscotch a bit. I want to talk about empathy." And I was like, jackpot. He was able to describe what he saw in me and said, "You're not empathetic, you're an empath." He didn't realize that that was what I was after, but I was looking for that scientific validation, and he gave it to me. So if you find yourself needing someone who can visually see and detect and give you your validation, he's your guy. I'm telling you, very talented. I wanted that validation because if I could have that validation, then I could feel like I wasn't broken. Because being an empath, you're gonna feel like you're broken. So if you feel like you're broken, that's a sign right there. Everybody seems to manage the emotions and physical sensations so much better than you. Listen, no one's managing them better than you. The reason that they're managing them so well is they don't feel them the same way you do. You're not broken. Empaths pick up on these signals a little bit differently than those that don't have high empathy. Think of it as a balloon. You know, when you rub one of those latex balloons and it creates that static electricity. Now that balloon, you can't see the energy that's causing my hair to stand up, or you can't see that static electricity that tingles on my skin. But just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It's the same thing with empathy. We experience that energy. We just have a higher sensory awareness to the energy around us. I know that now because after I opened up to empathy, then a lot of my other psychic skills popped in, my clairvoyance being one of them, and I can actually see the energy. There is some discussion about whether empaths are born or are they created from trauma. And really, I don't give a fuck. Really, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. We all have a healing and growth journey we're on. So regardless of if you're born of trauma or you're naturally born, who cares? You have the gift. You have the magic in you. I don't know if there's phases when you learn or discover you're an empath, but here's what I went through. The first thing I wanted a manual. I could not stand to be even around those energies. All I need to do is find the manual and I'll learn how to flip that switch off. There's no manual, but it's not about flipping that switch off. We're not doing the Vampire Diaries here and shutting off our humanity. Now, since it's a part of us, we're going to use it in our favor. Something that chemo speaks about quite frequently that I love is an empath's job is not to absorb, it's not to fix, it's to reflect. So for me, my job is to recognize the energy. I don't have to own it or wear the energy, and I don't have to fix the energy to make it go away. Here's what I did in the beginning. I went through the first phase of trying to block everything else out and turn it off. That did me pretty good because it taught me that I'm in control of it. So one of the things I did to control what I was feeling was I put myself in a bubble. That bubble contained my energy and I could see everything going on around me. People could interact with me, but their energy was not permitted to cross that bubble. Their bubble can be made of water. It could be a waterfall. It could be a snow globe. It could be a phone booth, an old phone booth. It can be a crystal encasement. It can be whatever you want. If you're strongly into music, you can put yourself in a bubble of music. If you like texture, you can put yourself in a bubble of that texture. Another thing I did was a simple braid. Before I went into places where I felt like there was going to be a lot of energy, I would just do a discreet, tiny little braid. That braid signified that what belonged to me, and what belonged to others belonged to them, and I was not going to absorb it. And you're going to find out that after a little bit, you're not going to need the braid or the bubble. You're going to be able to be in control of what you permit yourself to be in contact with. You're actually going to start using it to your favor. One of the ways I like to use it to my favor is, have you ever walked in the room and you can feel the tension in the air? Well, I can recognize the tension. I can recognize who it's coming from. I can choose not to absorb that energy, and I can choose to reflect out my own good energy. So it not only benefits me, it benefits those that are working with me. What you're going to find is it's not a burden. This is not something that's going to hinder you. You don't want to shut it off. It's actually a fantastic, fantastic tool to use. The key is those emotions and those physical sensations don't belong to you. You can learn not to absorb that energy. You can learn to reflect it. You're not broken. You're an empath. You're effing magical.